Shalom Uvracha, and welcome to an English audio version of the Sefer Zera Shimshon on Shir HaShirim. All credit for the content recorded here goes to the respective writers. I am just reading it. For those who wish to follow along, we are starting on page 3 of the Hebrew and English Art Scroll Hayes Family Edition. Without further ado, let's get started. Drush 1, a celebration of love. The Song of Songs, which is Shlomo's, may he kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for your love is better than wine, chapter 1, verses 1 and 2. This Drush is comprised of 4 parts. The first part distinguishes between the first and second sets of luchos. The second part explains the unique manner in which one of the sages would celebrate Shavuos. The third part explores why we are obligated to enjoy a feast on Shavuos, and based on the above, the final part of the Drush expounds on the opening verses of Shir HaShirim. Please note, this part I'm about to say here is not written in a sefer. I'm just saying it that because this first Drush is relatively long, and these are short recordings, I'm only going to be doing part 1 of Drush 1. Bezat Hashem bli neder, I'll be recording the rest later. Now, part 1. After the overwhelming experience of hearing the first 2 of the 10 commandments, the Sarasadibrus from Hashem himself, the Jewish people asked Moshe to act as an intermediary for the remaining commandments. The Midrash sets forth that this would have lasting ramifications, or a lasting ramification, Midrash Rabbah and Shir HaShirim Rabbah, chapter 1, verse 15, on the verse, may he kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, from chapter 1, verse 2 of Shir HaShirim, states, Rav Yehuda said, when the Jewish people heard at the time of the giving of the Torah, I am Hashem your God, from Shemos chapter 20, verse 2, the study of Torah became implanted in their hearts, and they would study and not forget anything that they would learn. But when they came to Moshe and said, you speak to us and we shall hear, Shemos chapter 20 verse 16, I believe, they reverted to their initial state in which they would study and forget anything they learned. The quote ends here. It appears from here that forgetfulness was a result of their saying, you speak to us and we shall hear. Zera Shimshon raises a difficulty with the above midrash based on a Gemara. Now this appears to contradict what the sages state in the 5th chapter of Masechta Eruvin, page 54a in the English, for those who wish to look. Rav Elazar said, had the first luchos not been broken, the Torah would have never been forgotten by the Jewish people. But according to the above midrash, the forgetfulness preceded, in other words, came before the breaking of the luchos, as a result of the Jewish people saying to Moshe, you speak to us. Zera Shimshon cites an earlier commentator who reconciles the 2 sources. It appears correct to explain that, in fact, both reasons apply, for it is written in Asara Ma'amaros in Chikordin, chapter 2, verse 16, which is a sefer written by Rav Menachem Azariah Mefano, in other words, the Ramah Mefano, and was first published in Venice in 53-57 Hebrew year. That when the Jewish people said to Moshe, you speak to us and we shall hear, it was decreed at that time to prevent them from forgetting the Torah as a result of that request. That the Torah would be inscribed on the stone luchos, so as to remove that is the Jewish people's hearts of stone. In other words, the luchos had the power to soften the spiritual hardness of the Jewish people's heart that hindered their ability to retain the Torah. The quote ends here. Imkain, accordingly, the forgetfulness was introduced to the world because the Jewish people said to Moshe, you speak to us. However, the luchos served as a remedy for them, and later when Moshe broke those luchos, the forgetfulness remained without any remedy. See also what we've written in a separate sefer on Parshas Veschanan, Drush 6, on the verse, and I shall give you the stone luchos, to Shemos chapter 24, verse 12. In that Drush, Zera Shimshon reconciles another pair of apparently contradictory sources based on the same idea. Zera Shimshon elaborates that the ramifications of the degree of forgetfulness based on another midrash. Now, because forgetfulness had been introduced into the world, it became necessary for Hashem to add on to the Torah that he was giving to the Jewish people, as the Midrash expounds in Shmos Rabbah chapter 46, verse 1, on the verse, "Then I saw and behold, you had sinned to Hashem your God." Devarim chapter 9, verse 16. Moshe started feeling distressed about the breaking of the Luchos. The Holy One, blessed is he, said to him, "Do not be distressed. The first Luchos contained only the 10 Commandments, and with the second Luchos I am giving the written Torah and the Mishnah." The quote ends here. Zera Shimshon clarifies what was lost in the breaking of the Luchos, and then explains Moshe's distress over this loss and Hashem's response. This may be explained as follows. All of the words of the prophets, Kesuvim, Mishnah, and Gemara, were alluded to in the first set of Luchos, and once they were given to Moshe, the entire Torah was written upon the heart of each and every individual Jew. This is the meaning of the verse in Yirmiyah, chapter 31, verse 32, "I will place my Torah within them, and I will write it onto their heart." Thus they would have no need to engage in Torah study, as they would all be like Avraham Avinu, whose 2 kidneys became like teachers, as they were flowing with wisdom. See Bereshis Rabbah, chapter 61, verse 11. For more details on that. That is, it would have been enough for the Jewish people to receive the 5 books of the Torah in order to know the laws and the mitzvos. And for more details on this, see Masechta Nedarim, page 22b in the English, and Koheles Rabbah, chapter 1, verse 13. And these would not become forgotten, they, the Jewish people, would be able to comprehend all the allusions of the Luchos. In other words, the stone Luchos would counteract the stone hearts of the Jewish people, and their intellect would assume a divine quality commensurate with that of the Luchos themselves. In other words, the actual Luchos the people would be as if they were essentially Luchos, because they would know everything that was on the Luchos and contained within the Luchos. Upon receiving the 5 books, which set forth the specific mitzvos in which the Jewish people are obligated, they would instinctively grasp the details of the mitzvos that comprise the oral Torah and conduct themselves in accordance with divine will. Thus, it was as if both the written Torah and the oral Torah were written in their own hearts. However, once they committed the Averos with the golden calf, they lost their well springs of divine wisdom, and in addition, the Luchos were broken, which caused them forgetfulness. Therefore Moshe started to feel distress, for he thought, perhaps the Holy One, blessed is he, will never again reveal to the Jewish people all of the hidden wisdom that was contained within the first set of Luchos, and even if Hashem will reveal it to them, perhaps it will be forgotten from them, chas v'sholom, heaven forbid, since forgetfulness has now come to the world. The Holy One, blessed is he, said to Moshe, "Do not feel distressed, for I am giving them the written Torah and the Mishnah." In other words, the entire Torah that was alluded to in the first Luchos. And even if the Jewish people do forget it, it is still possible for them to learn it again, and they will thereby retain it. Hence, they will not lose anything as a result of the breaking of the first set of Luchos, except that they will now need to toil and study the Torah repeatedly. What is more, the Jewish people will be rewarded for this toil. See Parshas Ki Sisa, Drush 11, where this idea is discussed at length in a separate sefer. Zera Shimshon summarizes, it thus emerges that forgetfulness was introduced into the world primarily because the Jewish people said to Moshe, "You speak to us, and we shall hear," which occurred on the day of the giving of the Torah. That is, on Atzeres, which is what the Tanakh refers to as, Gemara and Mishnah refers to as Shavuos. And because of this forgetfulness, it was necessary for Hashem to give the Torah along with the Nevi'im and Kesuvim, and to give us the Mishnah as well. Thank you for listening. This has been a recording of the Sefer Zera Shimshon in English on Shir HaShirim. May Hashem bench those who listen with the bracha of the Sefer Zera Shimshon, with the bracha of the Zera Shimshon, which in short is with the bracha, with following bracha. Your eyes shall see wise and intelligent children and grandchildren, like olive shoots around your table, wise and understanding. Your homes will be full of all that is good, and neither wealth nor honor will cease from your descendants until the fulfillment of they will see the glory of Hashem, the majesty of our God, from Yeshaya chapter 35, verse 2. And he will raise the banner of the nations, raise a banner for the nations, and assemble all the castaway children of Israel, speedily in our days. Amen. Selah. Ken Hiratzon.